This is Green Trunks, or Rival Trunks, a deck that, besides the fact that almost got killed before the region from the ruling, nobody was talking about, and I repped it, mostly because I didn't find another deck that interested me in this deck. So before we go to the main deck, we have to talk about what the deck starts with. We have the two Vegetas, the SS Vegeta, for the real Masters fans, and the Z Extra. So in order to awaken, we need to control this Vegeta. And what he does is he Z-stacks the Z Extra. When he attacks, he plays out the Z Extra, and you're not allowed to activate and negate against him, which is pretty convenient. And Trunks searches whenever he or Vegeta swings. Vegeta sets up the Z Extra. What does the Z Extra do? Well, if we have an arrival card on board, we can lock a Vegeta or Trunks Warrior Spirit in the combo area, essentially making our leader and every card we have get a 5k pump. And if we do that, we're not allowed to play non-arrival battle cards, which has a couple changes in my deck because of that. And it has an effect where you can remove it from the game and free combo a red-green card. This is usually just for kill shot, or if you're desperate and you need a color in your hand. It happened many times. I won one of my games because of it. And solid leader. It also when you combo draw one, and it reduces a Trunks or Vegeta's arrival skill by 1 red dot when you have a red and green in the combo area. Specifically, it has to be a red and green. It can't just be a red-green. One of the unfortunate sides about this leader. My biggest pet peeve is that you don't negate energy exhaust on the back. And this is the dumbest design ever, because that is genuinely my biggest issue with this deck. I think otherwise the deck would have been really good, really strong. But I still think the deck's good regardless. So I'm going to leave the Z Extra here for now.
So do you ever see yourself playing a Vegeta later in the game, or you just play 2 in case the first one gets killed before you can awaken?
That is a combo that we'll explain in the game later, but also it comes up because since this doesn't have barrier, if you have a counterplay, I will then have to play another Vegeta, so it comes up that we need to.
Would you play 2 Z Extras so that you could use the free combo at one point earlier in the game?
No, because that would take up too much space in the deck, unfortunately. But there's another reason we play this at 2, and we'll get to the card that breaks that card. So we start with 1-drops. We have 4 Yamcha, and we have the best card in the deck when you see correctly for Chi-Chi. So Yamcha's just your generic searcher. Really good effect where when you combo him, you can drop him to combo the Vegeta or Trunks Warrior Spirit, which is a good way to get your colors. I don't think you're ever going to use the Trunks effect unless you need a lock, but the Vegeta one comes up a lot when you don't have the red color, which happens a lot. And Chi-Chi, when you have 2 multis in the energy, draws you a card. Really strong on your backside because you also draw when you combo, making her a +1. She is so important to the deck. If you see like 3 of these and you saw the 2 multis, your deck starts playing so strong. It is you out-research your opponent really hard. Of course, it does get a little bricky if you don't see the multis early, but regardless, such a strong card. It is the reason the deck is actually playable.
It's basically a super combo.
Pretty much.
Because you can lock a Vegeta or a Trunks, and then you can use that to go with it.
Exactly. Now we got the Warrior Spirits. These are the cards you can lock in the combo area, and they also have their activate battles for the respective color of them, where they play themselves and draw 1, and then they mill the copy of themselves. Really useful early game, as if you see them on 1, you can play them as cantrips essentially when your opponent attacks, and you get them off. You get to mill them so you get the right copies. You want to make sure you always have at least one or the other in the drop so you can have color correcting. Vegeta, for the most part, is more important because he's red, and since we're playing a green deck, we're going to have more green cards, which is why I play more Vegetas than Trunks.
Do you ever charge a mono red in this deck, or no?
We can't because we have cards that need our energy mono green.
Got it. Or green. All green.
But I wouldn't even if I didn't, just because the red energy really hurts.
Got it, because the leader does reduce by red for a reason.
Yeah, then we have 2 Brion, the spice of the deck.
So, I hate this card.
Yeah, I love this card. It is a tap 2 killing Norm barrier. Why is that so special in a green deck? Because it has no energy restriction, meaning that you can set this up. So VX plays their A drop, but they're only at 2 energy. Well, you just play this and kill the VX. I played against an Oceanus player and literally did this on my turn 3, where he was at 2 energy and I just killed an A drop. And you know, the value's crazy. She's also a 15k swing, which means she's not even bad. Not unlike Chilled, where you have to have a specific condition for him. And
it's also deflect, so it's hitting board.
Well, it's activate made as well, so there's literally no way to stop.
Well, I mean, like, you're not stopping it from hitting the board, so you're gonna get the body on the field. So you can just combo her off.
It's a really pretty card.
I mean, it is.
And I did combo it. Yeah, it comes up with the gain energy. We have 2 Goku. Just honestly, I added this last minute and it felt really strong. Literally just a free 19k draw one. And if you have a blocker on board, it becomes a dual attacker. And you can either give him dual attack with Bardock, which we are playing the Z deck, or play one of the Arrivals, which has blocker. And also a really strong effect where if you out it, you just blow up a card. And this is really useful against board wipes, since board wipes usually they can't choose what to get rid of. So if they have Beast or Shaking Fury, you basically just have a guarantee out to it. Really strong. And speaking of strong, we get to the sauciest card of the deck. We have 3 decisions made, and this is why this is important that we play 2.
Basically, charismatic.
Yes, because on your 1, if you lost die roll, you'll have an energy in the marker. So what you actually do on your 1 is you'll go swing with leader and combo card, and you'll play Vegeta with the Z extra early. You'll swing to get the Z extra set up and pass. Now you have 5 Z energy cost in your battle area, which reduces this down to a 1-drop, as it reduces for every Z cost on battle or leader area. And this card is crazy. It is a counterplay that on play will Z charge itself for cost and Z charge a 7 or less on your opponent's board, and the best effect ever, remove 2 markers. This is strong because since you're doing this on your 1, you have essentially a free kill a 2 or less unison. And there's pretty much no way to stop this. You'd have to play the free play unison counters, which no one does. Because even if you were, you'd have to pitch 2 cards just to stop it from coming down.
For people questioning, because they're really old, he's talking like God Slicing Kamehameha, Peel-Off Missile, Dark Dragon Slaying Bullet. He's talking about those cards.
Forget Time Bullet.
Yeah, Time Bullet.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, this card in testing, it was like, this card like makes VX crumble because you just delete their unison and they can't do anything.
VX and Namek Goku really suck.
You know, as long as you see it though. I heard you unfortunately bricked so hard you built a house today.
Yeah, the only issue I have with this card, and generally the only concern I get when people say they don't want to play this card, it's a 10k and it breaks your deck when you're playing so many multis and you also have to play another 1k. But I think the high-roll value of it is too strong not to play.
No, for
I
sure.
checked so many lists, no one was playing it, or they said that it wasn't worth it. Some people did, and I respect those people because they understood that this card, when it hits, you're probably gonna like steamroll the game, depending on your matchups.
Yeah, that card's dumb.
Then we have 2 Arm Force. I mean, this card is just a great green card.
Arm Force.
It has Barrier, which is really important against certain matchups. You can easily play Bully Tyrant, as you're going to have cards on board you play on your opponent's turn to make it a dual attacker. And I mean, like, you can't go wrong with this card. Then we have 1 Charismatic for the Z Unison I play, which I'll show right here. I play Bardock. Bardock is so strong, giving your guys blocker, but then in a draw, meaning you can set up a Dormant into a block, and you can Arrival out another blocker. So you're basically just telling your opponent that they're not really going to be clearing it. It does get cleared, but even when it does get cleared, you still get your full value. I'm not gonna lie,
they attacked it and not your leader.
I didn't resolve Charismatic once today, sadly, because whenever I saw him, it was too late, either he died, or when I don't see him, I would have the Unison out. So really unfortunate, but probably gonna take it out as there's more space you can make for the deck, but also a pretty card.
Yeah.
Then we play, you're not gonna play Father Son in a green deck. Like, this card's so overtuned. Kills ignoring barrier, makes them discard 1. As you guys know, we are playing this Goku, which means it never came up today, but you can combo this with him to make it burn a life.
It crits the life, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it never came up, sadly. I really wish it did, because that would have been a really good game. But overall, I mean, this card's insane. Yeah. It's also good against red if you really need the power and the Z energy for explosive. But
green is good at generating power in the Z energy.
Correct. Then we'll get to the multis. So we're playing 2 Spirit Bomb. I was surprised that not a lot of Trunks decks are playing this. It just needs your leader to be green and you can tap 2. And with 1 Arrival, you're basically a 40k, which is going to clear every 40k on the board without barrier, and you can discard 1, draw 2. Very important in this deck because you can get rid of all the bricks in your hand, multicolors, or the Gokus when they're late game. And it's a board wipe. I saw this against a QQ player, literally sacked him. If I didn't see his card, he won the game 100%. So this card's great. It's another charge for your leader because you want to run enough multis that you can see them turn 1 and 2. The combo power is a little bad, since if that's the only multi you draw for the free combo, you're basically not getting a lot of value. But overall, card was amazing.
Is there a reason why you don't play 3?
Break.
Okay.
And now we get to the main part of the deck, the arrivals. And honestly, they're really solid. We play 4 Vegeta and 3 Trunks. So, Vegeta and Trunks are 1-tap reds that can be made free with the leader on the backside. And they both serve incredible purposes. Trunks is a barrier blocker, and if he's played with his arrival skill, he negs a card by 5 for the battle. So it's good against leader swings if you want to push damage or if you want to avoid damage. If you have a red and green in the combo area, he restands himself. Really strong, as you can lock a card in the combo area, you block, and he's base 25. You combo one more to go to 30 and restand him. Essentially, not letting your opponent get any value from actually trying to kill him.
Unless they're Kid Q with 30k skillless.
Exactly, and that's how you play it after they play it. That's the beauty of the arrival. And Vegeta is a double striker, but the really broken part about him is that he negs 15, and since you can do this free arrival, it is basically like an IAR that your opponent just isn't expecting. And if you have 1 energy up, you can arrival 2 of these and neg by 30 for 1 energy. And this card draws. So if you combo Chi-Chi and a card and Vegeta, you basically lost no cards in hand to out combo like almost a 40k swing.
Yeah.
Which is insane value, which is why we run him at 4. I was running this guy at 4 at one point. But this guy comes up more in the games for the most part, and he's also someone you want to charge for multis because you will see Trunks early. You want to keep them for the early game. So overall, I think this ratio is fine. I wouldn't really change this. And then we have the boss card of the deck, the 6-drop Arrival. This card is amazing and at the same time really annoying because the games where you see him or get him on curve, he's probably the best card in the deck. Making your opponent Z-Charge one is great because it dodges hand removal effects like Majin Exterminator, the yellow version, and Deborah. And it also, if you have a red and green in the combo, you draw 1. So in the same context, if you Chi-Chi and combo and play him, you lost no cards in hand and your opponent lost a card. It is also on play or attack. So near the end of your opponent's end turn, you can arrival 1, get the value, and then keep him for next turn and get another Z-Charge out of them, essentially making them discard 2. He, unfortunately, can be made a 1-cost arrival, which means that you can't play him tapped out, and that sometimes does make him a brick a lot, since once you're awakened, you can't charge them, so you have to leave an energy up for them, or set your turn up and play them on your turn, which can be expensive tapping too. But when he is played, if you got the right curve, he's so broken, it is insane how much value you can get, especially if you manage to get 2 of them on the board, and you're drawing 2 from your combos.
No, yeah, playing Kid Q, if he's able to establish that at a correct point early on, it's like fucking almost impossible.
And then for the Masters gameplay, Floodgates, we play standard 3 Dorman, 3 Rage. Yep, I'm pulling 1 of every Dorman art. I did this on purpose. In case you're curious, this is the order. No debates. So, to be honest, I was testing 3 Rage last minute, and after playing the regional, I'm going to say that I did not like Rage at 3, because the best Floodgate for this deck, honestly, is in fact Dormant, because you get a combo step, and since you can arrival out a barrier blocker, you essentially aren't going to be needing to take the damage, and only having to discard 1 versus if you want to free negate, discard 2 comes up. Especially because since you're playing so many multis, it actually comes up to discard it. Same with Rage, but on a lot of curves, you can probably get a barrier blocker for Dormant, or you get Bardock out. And at that point, you'd rather just Dormant and get your full value. So I'd probably put this to 2. I just like Dormant more as a plug in this deck. I just think it fits the deck's playstyle better. But Rage being a free negate does come up a lot, because Dormant thing, blocking, and then if they out your blocker, you have a free negate for any of the other things they want to do. So this card's still very important. And then the biggest spice of the deck is the super combo choices. You're not seeing, that's right, a green deck with no Paragus. Crazy. So we're running 2 Beto. This card, again, was a last minute change, and I was in love. Because one thing I noticed with this deck is you have 2 Z energy as quick as turn 2. And this is live immediately, and this is really important because when you're swarming the board with Bardock Unison, your Arrivals, your Vegeta, Z-Card, and Rest Mode, people aren't swinging at your leader. So you're stuck at 6 for a pretty long time, especially if you're playing as a non-aggro deck. So having a super combo live early comes up a lot, especially because he bottoms draws too, so you can get rid of the bricks out of your hand to draw. I do wish he discarded, so you can set up your drop, but this is still really strong. And Toby is the GOAT of the deck. He's so important, and the biggest reason why is because we'll go back to the Warrior Spirits, because if you lock it in your combo area, you're going to essentially be at 20k every time they're swinging. And now the broken part is when your opponent's swinging, let's say VX swings 30k double, you're like, oh shoot, he's swinging double. Well, with Toby, because this card's stuck in the combo area, you combo to 5, so now you're 25, and he'll give 6k to the Vegeta, and you'll draw a card, meaning you go to 31. Essentially meaning that you can out-combo all 30ks by just spending no resources out of it. Versus if you use another super combo, where you go to 30, you still have to combo one more. His value today was absolutely insane, especially because you beat him early, and then late game when your opponent starts pushing you, you hit them with combos that they're not expecting you to get out of.
Yeah, and this was one of my favorite cards because Chris knows I look at Green Shield a lot. For some reason, I have a fixation on that deck. And when I read this deck and I'm like, wait, the combos stay in the combo area, I'm like, Chris, there's an old Toby card from set 13. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? But yeah, this card was annoying in testing into Kid Q because I would swing 30 double with my SR and he would just be like, yeah, 31.
Yep. I was playing it at 4, then I played 3 1 Paragus, but I think this 2-2 split felt a lot stronger because the draw power and cycling of this card, and especially early game, comes up a lot. So I'd probably keep the ratio the same. I don't really favor one more over the other. They both have their purposes.
And you play Heroine's Lineage as your SCR, right?
No, we play Cellmax.
Okay.
Everyone's saying Scrambles this are they're baiters. They're shoulders, and they want their $19 Fortnite cards. Because the combo of Scramble essentially means that you have to put your opponent at 2 life and then have 4 energy up to reduce the arrival down so you can scramble for game. And that sounds so complex when you can just put your opponent at 4 and go swing quad strike. And you realize how infinitely easier one sounds over the other.
I mean, you don't even need to do that. You just play this card and then like kill this card with the new Bojack card if they're at 1.
No, we're not there yet. But yeah, this card is insane. I literally won 2 games because I just went, hey, you're gonna floodgate? All right, I'll play Cell Maxi if you have another negate. And they say nothing, and I'm like, oh, well, the game's over then. And I mean, in some matchups, you can just play this early game and just let it sit there, and your opponent knows it's coming, and they can't stop it. I love this card to death. It's won me so many games. Sometimes you don't even need the quad strike, you just literally need a swing to get a free negate out of them. And if you know they have Dormant, well, they're pretty scary.
And at that point, it's a hand control card if you're just fishing the negate.
Exactly. And now we get to the Z deck. We play Wanjiro. I really would have preferred Surmounting because it's a 5k to work with the deck. But the reason we play this is because the Spirit Bomb Alliance, if we ever run out of cards to rest, we at least have one option in the Z deck to rest.
I mean, it's got barrier too, so your opponent's not really outing it unless they use barrier removal for some reason on it.
Correct. Then we run Tyrant Frieza, standard cards. I never got to play Frieza today. I saw one curve where it would have been useful, but I just didn't value it. Broly is just insane, being a 1/1 card that essentially can give double pretty easily, and it's combos with Arm Force the best.
Frieza is one of the best cards that you like barely ever play.
Exactly, she's that good. We play Bojack, and this is the sauce of the deck.
Yes.
Because he has a pretty good effect. He kills a battle card that without unique, and he loses 2 markers. That effect doesn't matter. It's the bottom where if a card was removed on your side, you get to kill anything, and then he gets double strike. But the combo of him is that he KOs for cost, meaning that this doesn't actually get placed in the drop, it just gets removed. Meaning that you'll trigger his effect to nuke the board and more importantly, crit a life. Meaning that essentially, if you put your opponent at 1 life, you could, after playing Cell Max, you just play Bojack and win the game.
Yep.
You have to spend any resources.
If they're at 2 life and they token negate, they lose the game.
Exactly. And he's 2/2, and this deck has so much energy, you don't care. You just need 2 energy and a Cell Max. Slumber Strike is better for cost, but this doesn't have to be searched or sacked. You always have him ready. You just need to see Cell Max. Overall, broken card. I've only played him for Cell Max KO, so the second star of the show is Rush Attack. You have to have 2 red greens to get the Chi-Chi combo, so you're always gonna have 2 red energy, and you have so much Z energy in this deck that it's crazy. He also free combos, and that's great because if you're starting the turn with him, he actually draws a card in your hand. Since you're gonna combo, your leader's gonna trigger to draw 1. So you went +1 in his exchange.
Yeah, people also don't expect Rush Attack outside of red.
Exactly. I won 2 of my games because of Rush Attack, and I adore this card. Probably the second best Z card in the Z deck. And now we move on to the side. I have, for the most part, a standard side for green so far. We have 3 SGR, 3 Exterminator, and then 3 Focus Breakthrough. Like standard green cards that you side. This is for Unison strategies. The counterplay is really broken for 2 costs, but he's like a backup in case you don't see it. Or you play against a 3 cost Unison strategy. Focus is amazing. It's even better in this deck because since you're a multi-deck, he's actually able to be used for free. So on your kill turns, you can stop floodgates, you can stop like Keiku's doing bunny girls and Chaozu plays. I had a guy try to Chaozu my rush attack and I went focus for free, and it's just such broken value. Exterminator, such a broken hand control answer. Against a lot of decks, you can discard it, you'll draw the card, and then you just combo it off and draw again off your leader, meaning that you just went +1 in your hand.
I wish Red had one of these.
I wish Blue had one of these, so we're in the same boat. I played 2 Gobros. Gobros was in the main deck, but I just moved him to the side because he's basically a free slot in whenever we don't need the counterplay, because that card's the freest side out, and we just put in like 2 of these whenever. Or if we want to extra hand control a deck. Then we play 2 Koits, standard card. I played 2 Cronoa because Alex told me that Bulma Super Combo is too scary and you need an answer, and I told him, you know what? Sure. It's a cantrip at the end of the day, and so it's not like you're negging, and you can always combo it off late game. And
also, doesn't your leader just draw no matter what card is combo? Doesn't have to be red or green?
That is correct.
Okay,
that's why Koitsu is also just as good. And then the Spice of the side, which I never got to play, unfortunately, but better safe than sorry, is Clash of Planet M2, or Clash on Planet M2. What this does is you pick a red battle card, and you either let it attack battle cards inactive, or you neg a card equal to its power. Why is this important? Well, unfortunately, we are still a green deck, which means Gogeta SCR is a big problem for this deck.
Talking about Aegis Gogeta.
And the combo is you can arrival this 6-drop on your Gogeta's opponent's turn. You can get this pretty easily. You just have to have 1 energy up. They can rest it, so you might have to have 2, or if you have the marker. And you arrival this, you do your shenanigans, blah, blah, blah. And then going into your next turn, you go Clash of M2 to pick this negative Gogeta SCR by 25, and then you go swing and get the last 20. Basically outing it for 1 card. And they don't expect it. You don't look at a green deck and think they're going to neg 45. It does also work with Vegeta, depending on the curve you see. You can neg by 20, and then play a Vegeta on that turn, neg by 15, and play something else to neg by 5. Or you neg by 20, and with a card you had on board, play Rush Attack, and then neg by 15 when you arrive another one. Multiple situations. I thought about setting this card against some other decks. It can come up, but it's a little bricky since it's an extra, and you can charge it. But it was literally just for Gogeta, and in the testing I did against Gogeta, this card is the reason you can win that matchup. Otherwise, you have a solid matchup in a Gogeta anyways.
Yeah, I mean, green doesn't like that SCR. They don't really have an answer, but luckily you have red to
that is the deck. I like this deck a lot. I don't think it gets better in the anniversary meta, sadly. I think it gets worse because more decks come out that do a job better than it. It has a lot of shortcomings. The last game I played, you get those turns, but you see no multis turn 1, and you can even break to turn 2. I was gonna play Broly Checkland, but I unfortunately could not get any copies at times, so I had to play without them. If you were gonna play this deck, I probably would recommend them, because if you miss curve, that's at least a backup that helps you not lose an energy for the next turn, and it is searchable, as you search every 4 or less red or green stain in the deck. So overall, fun deck, cheap. If you want to build this, I suggest getting it now, before it gets like some broken support in set 26 we don't know about. And overall, have a good one.